Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Parker here with your weekly quantum human design energy forecast for the week starting on Monday, June the 16th. I learned something recently and I want to share it with you because it was so beautiful and kind of mind blowing. Did you know that when Maslow created his hierarchy of needs, that at the end of his life, he added another tier to the pyramid? So, in the way in which most of us learn about Maslow's hierarchy of needs in school, we learn about the terminal point of the pyramid being self actualization, meaning when you get all your basic needs met, then it creates space in your life to fulfill the potential of who you are, to become actualized or proficient at navigating the world and at being yourself. But at the end of his life, he really began to teach that there's more beyond the self and self actualization. So he created another tier called self transcendence, meaning that when we become fulfilled personally, it opens up a new space in our lives for us to transcend our personal identity and use who we are, our story, to not only serve ourselves, our families, our community, but to literally serve the world. And that ultimately we are here to serve something greater to ourselves. This is more of a spiritual calling, a higher purpose, if you will. And when we look at the human design chart, I believe that that higher purpose, that path from the ego, the personal self, to the higher self lives in the channel 2551, that channel of awakening that brings us a connection to a deeper purpose, a deeper sense of purpose, a deeper meaning for our life. It connects us to love, right, in the G center, and gives us a renewed sense of direction and purpose and meaning for our lives that's rooted in the fulfillment of love. I'm telling you about this because we're getting an opportunity this week to calibrate with a little bit of love, and that's an important part of helping us move our purpose or live more fully in our calling. I'm also telling you this because I'm actually getting ready to start a brand new training. It is a training based on the book that I wrote in 2009 called Inside the Body of God. This is a book that literally came to me, and I say that intentionally. It came to me when I was expecting my fifth child, which was a very surprising and unexpected pregnancy that brought with it a lot of its own unique challenges. And as I struggled and grappled with trying to get through this pregnancy and raise four teenagers by myself as a full time single mom and keep my business going, I really needed extra help. I needed spiritual help, if you will. I had to literally just get on my knees every day and try to let go and surrender and pray and try to figure out how was I going to get through this really difficult, stressful time. And the chapters in this book sort of came to me one by one and gave me an instruction manual, if you will, for how to navigate difficult times. So I'm getting ready to teach a program. It's a brand new program. I've never taught this before, where I'm integrating quantum human design with the inside the body of God information. We're going to talk about how does your intuition work in the chart. We're going to talk about how does your money work in the chart. We're going to talk about tapping into abundance, spirituality, gratitude, heart intelligence, manifesting, all through the lens of quantum human design. The program itself is on sale for 50% off. I'm going to post the link below. That discount expires on June the 21st. So I want you just to be aware that that 50% off discount is a limited offer, and I'll post all the information for you below. The second thing that I wanted to let you know is if you're really looking for support in how to reframe, retell your story, your personal story, so that you can step more fully into your purpose and become self transcendent, my brand new book, Quantum Wellness, is available for pre sale. It's coming out on August the 20th, and I'm very excited to share it with you. This is a practical guide to help you systematically explore your story, take back control over your story so that you get to choose who you decide to be in this life. And you are training yourself basically to write a story that is worthy of the full potential, the self-transcended aspect of who you are. All right, let's talk about this week. I have to take a step back and let's talk about creativity and the creative quarters of the year. So you may know, if you've watched my videos for a while, that there are creative quarters that are break down the human design year. So we have 4 creative quarters throughout the arc of the entire 365 days that is the year. Each creative quarter has a theme, and we start off that theme with the sun highlighting one of the gates in the cross of the Sphinx, right? So we start off every quarter with a direction giving gate that gives us a theme for the creative jobs that we have to do in that quarter to complete an entire year's creation process. So we start off the year with a dream, we build that dream over the arc of the year, and every quarter we're given an assignment by the planets. We're given an assignment for what we need to focus on and work on as we build, create, manifest, whatever you want to call it, our creative vision for the year. Now, in the middle of every quarter, we go through the cross of the vessel of love. So, in the middle of each one of these 4 creative quarters of the year, we get an opportunity to take a pause in the middle of that quarter. And that pause is an opportunity for us to breathe, realign, make sure we're in alignment, assess where we're headed, and check in and make sure that we're not pushing with our will, but rather aligning with our narrative, aligning with our story. We are becoming. We get an opportunity 4 times a year to really check in and ask ourselves, are we being the person we need to be to create the fulfillment of whatever that dream is that we're holding? And so this week, starting on Thursday, this week starting on Thursday, we enter into the cross of the vessel of love, the midpoint in this creative quarter. And so we're given an opportunity this week to kind of take a breath, to pause a little bit, to check in, and to really explore, are we pushing or are we aligning? Are we using our will, or are we moving into a deeper experience of who we need to be in order to fulfill the vision that we're building, the dreams that we're building towards? So let's break that down for the week, and let's talk about what's up in the celestial weather. So I want to just remind us that we are now moving solidly through the nodes, highlighting the gate 22 and the gate 47. Again, a really, really delicious shift in the energies. Hopefully that takes out some of the chaos that we've had all year. The gate 22 is the gate of surrender, the gate 47, the gate of mindset. So our overarching theme right now is becoming the steward for our visions, carefully curating our dreams, being people. We're caretakers for our dreams, right? We're here to nurture them, to put energy into them, to take some time and visualize and imagine and feel what it's going to be like in the future, or maybe even now, what it's going to feel like to really be in the fulfillment of that dream. That's an important part of creating that dream. We also have to be taking good, careful stock of our belief systems, our imprinting, our conditioning, and make sure that we're not letting society's expectations or the limitations that we were fed as children block us from believing and having the faith that our dreams can come true. So, a really wonderful season to really clean house in the faith department and to really continue to put energy into the vision for what it is that we're creating. So we start off the week with the sun highlighting the gate 12, the gate of the channel, the earth highlighting or grounding us in the gate 11, the gate of the conceptualist. This is a really beautiful configuration where you are probably feeling pretty inspired. You may have had a lot of ideas drop in, a lot of downloads, if you will, about what's next, what's the next right step. But both of these energies are up here in the chart. They come off the throat and the ajna. They're not energies for action yet. So we always have to calibrate ourselves before we act. That doesn't mean we don't act. And I want to be really clear. It doesn't mean we don't act, but it means before we act, we have to make sure that we're calibrated. And that's really kind of the theme for this week, because when we shift into midweek Thursday, when we go into the sun highlighting the gate 15, the gate of compassion, the earth grounding us in self-love, that's that cross of the vessel of love energy, that opportunity for us to take a pause and assess, where are we? Where are we in the creative process? Are we holding the energy correctly? Are we being good stewards? Do we have any limiting beliefs that need to be cleared out? Do we have any old stories that need to go? Are there ancestral contracts that are keeping us stuck in stories that don't serve us anymore? What do we need to let go of before we can have room for creating something new. That's really our big invitation midweek. And certainly with the sun highlighting the gate 15, right now we're in a weird time, okay? It's a disruptive time. So I certainly don't want to like put my head in the clouds and be like, la la la, it's going to be so awesome all the time. We're in a season of disruption, and disruption is an essential part of growth. We have to disrupt our old stories when they don't work anymore, because if we don't disrupt them, then we get stuck on a hamster wheel of just repeating cycles again and again and again. So we have to disrupt these stories, and it can be really uncomfortable. And certainly whenever the gate 15 shows up, even though it's technically not the gate 36, which is the one that we just got out of, it can feel a lot like the gate 36. The gate 15 is an energy that disrupts patterns. It's an energy that's natural. If you think about fire in the forest, in a pine forest, fire in a pine forest serves an important role. Some pine trees can't germinate their seeds. The seeds get stuck in the cone. The cones don't open until they're seasoned with fire. And so that gate 15 is kind of the same energy of a forest fire. It's an energy that comes in to disrupt patterns that feel stuck. It's about giving us the fire to crack us open, to be able to lay seeds that is something bigger, that builds something bigger, that grows something new. So, I definitely think this whole year is about, especially as we see all these major outer planets shift their positions, this entire year is ultimately about a new season. So even though it feels cataclysmic and maybe disruptive right now, it's actually a vital new season. And the newness of everything that's coming through is going to really help us lay the foundation for what's next in the human story. And certainly this week with, the sun highlighting the 15, this may be further disruptions in old stories, with the awareness, and I want you to really hear this, with the awareness that that disruption is essential. It's a process that's helping us clarify what needs to be released, what needs to be let go, what needs to be healed, what needs to be aligned, so that we can ultimately create what we really want. The steering energy, if you will, the energy for direction that kicks in, that grounds us this week, is the gate 10, this gate of self-love. And that goes back to that Maslow's hierarchy of needs I was talking about at the beginning. When we love ourselves and we recognize that we are a unique and vital and irreplaceable part of the cosmic plan, that we have a role to play that only we can play, and we are in a state of deep appreciation for that role. Think about this for a minute. Think about this for a minute. You are playing a role in the cosmos that no one else can play. That literally is your only job. And it's such a precious role that literally the entire universe is what it is because of you playing that role. If you cannot stand in awe of yourself in a humble way, in a beautiful way, in an awestruck, loving way, if you can't love yourself, it's going to change and shift and make your direction feel like an obstacle course. The more we can sync ourselves up with loving ourselves, being in awe of the job that you were given, that only you can fulfill, and being excited and feeling called. That's that self-transcendence, right? We get called to serve something greater than yourself. You're here to serve that place in the cosmic plan that only you can fulfill. When we hear that call and heed that call, it grounds us this week. And then it gives us the energy, the courage, the direction, the capacity, the power to then break free from any pattern that is holding us back from fulfilling that unique and vital role that only you can fulfill. So, kind of a fun energy, and certainly a good week to really stand in awe of yourself. Think about everything you've endured, you've survived. Think of the fact of how much you've intended and how much you've committed to your growth, your expansion, your creativity. How much have you given the world just by being yourself? Pretty awesome. All right, let's talk about Mercury. Mercury moves through the gate 39, the gate of provocation in traditional human design, the gate 53, the gate of starting, and the gate 62 this week. So lots of movement in Mercury. This gives us a theme of getting practical about what do we need to bring into alignment to be in a higher state of abundance. So certainly a week for us to also, as we talk about limitations and limiting beliefs and stories and breaking through some of those limiting beliefs and stories, A good week to also explore what attitudes do you have about money? Are you letting your fears hold you back from being in the flow of abundance? Is there something that needs to shift in your money story in order to bring you into deeper alignment with higher states of abundance? And of course, it's practical. So the information that comes through this week, or the guidance we even share with each other, communicate with each other, can be very practical and help us really cultivate a deeper sense of connection to our value and our worth, and of course, our money. Venus moves from the 24 to the gate 2, sort of pushing again on the similar theme as Mercury. We are being invited, I love this, right? Being invited to stop rationalizing with settling for less, right? And to begin to explore, how good are you willing to allow it? What are you willing to allow? Are you allowing enough? And or have you settled for less? And if so, why? And what stories need to shift and be moved out of the way so that you can stand, totally open to receiving all the support you deserve for fulfilling that unique and vital and irreplaceable role that only you can fulfill. Mars moves from the 29 to the 59. Again, Mars, this is kind of intense Mars energy. This is, again, another place where the potential for fighting and war lives in the chart. Mars is already sometimes in its immature state about fighting and war. We are here to fight our limitations, not each other. So a good time to really go inward with exploring, what do you need to revolutionize inside of yourself in order to expand what you're willing to allow yourself to receive and your capacity to create. Jupiter and Saturn hanging out in that cool partnership that they have, where we talk so much, where the Saturn gives us the challenge and a lesson, and Jupiter says, "Hey, you did a good job. Here's your reward. High five!" Right? Saturn is basically highlighting gate 25, the gate of purpose. It's that place where that calling, your spiritual calling, lives in the gate 25. It's just also being highlighted by Neptune. Neptune and Saturn have been doing this tango for a while. They're still in it, right? And Saturn is saying, hey, are you pushing? Are you hustling? And also, hey, are you actually doing what you came here to do? Or have you gotten distracted? Have you settled for less? Are you letting fear run the show? What the combination, and the Jupiter is highlighting the gate 15, which is also where our sun lives starting on Thursday, right? It's that disruptive, pattern breaking energy. It's the forest fire energy. And certainly what Jupiter and Saturn in this combination says is that you're going to be really supported in breaking your patterns. You're going to be deeply supported in breaking free from the limitations so that you can step into your higher purpose. So I fully expect for you to be getting signs and information and insights and inspiration from the world around you, reminding you who you really are and giving you the support that you need to break free from any limitations, any place where you've settled for less than, or you've compromised who you are, so that you can move into a state of self-transcendence. But in the shadow, this is also energy that can be pretty intense and disruptive. So, we had a little bit of a pause. It's over. We're back in the thick of it. But there's a lot more support in the celestial weather now, I would say now for the end of the year, than there was in the beginning. So again, the work of dismantling, the work of disruption is not over, but there's a reward, there's payoff when we do the work. And you may not have felt like there was payoff at the first part of this year. I will say, I feel like there's been a lot more support called in through the planetary energies. So keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. Don't settle. Don't settle for less than what you deserve. Don't settle for a compromised version of your story or your dream. And trust that when you keep holding that vision of whatever it is you're creating, and it's truly aligned with who you really are and your higher purpose, that self-transcendent place, you will receive all the support that you need to do what you came here to do. That's what I got for you this week. Have a good week. Be well. Bye.